I live in Edinburgh, the only place in the British Isles where you can see a royal residence, medieval castle, and 3 extinct volcanoes. It's been called the Athens of the North. Not only does the city have its own Parthenon on Calton Hill, it's actually called the National Monument. It also shares with its Greek counterpart a great legacy of cultural and scientific accomplishments. Edinburgh has served as the capital of Scotland since the 15th century. It has 2 distinct areas: the medieval Old Town, which is dominated by the castle, and the New Town, which dates back to the late 18th century and still retains much of its original Neoclassical and Georgian architecture. In 1995, UNESCO recognized both the old and new towns of Edinburgh as World Heritage Sites. While shoppers typically make a beeline for the new town, tourists are usually more intrigued by the sights of the old town, at the heart of which is the Royal Mile. This historic street stretches from the castle down to Holyrood Palace, the official residence of the British monarch in Scotland. Exploring the popular sites along the Royal Mile is one of the highlights of any trip to Edinburgh. However, if you're prepared to venture a little off the beaten track too, there are some real hidden treasures to discover. One such place is the Writers' Museum. Literature has flourished in the city for centuries, and the museum pays tribute to the great writers who have found inspiration here. It's worth mentioning that in 2004, Edinburgh became the first city to be designated a UNESCO City of Literature. Natives of the city include Robert Louis Stevenson, writer of Treasure Island and Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Sir Walter Scott, who is widely credited with having pioneered the historical novel genre, and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes. More recently, it was in Edinburgh that J.K. Rowling did much of her writing for the Harry Potter books, likely drawing inspiration for her magical world from the old town's winding streets and the breathtaking sight of Edinburgh Castle atop Castle Rock. It seems she was no stranger to Greyfriars Graveyard either. One particular gravestone there is inscribed with the name Thomas Riddle. Is this where Harry Potter's great antagonist acquired his true name? Edinburgh is the 2nd most visited city in the UK. Tourists arrive in their droves throughout the year, but they come to see more than monuments. Edinburgh is the UK's preeminent city for festivals. In the summer, there's the world-famous Edinburgh Festival Fringe, the largest performing arts festival in the world. Only the Olympics and the World Cup surpass it for ticket sales. The Fringe transforms the entire city into a stage. Anyone can take part, with any type of performance. While comedy shows make up around 1/3 of the performance program, there is also music, dance, opera, and theatre to enjoy. In the winter, Edinburgh sees the old year out and welcomes the new year in, with the annual Hogmanay celebrations. Hogmanay is the Scots word for New Year's Eve. It's celebrated in Edinburgh with a huge street party centred on Princes Street. Over 4 or 5 days of festivities, there are concerts, processions, fireworks displays, and, as you can imagine, a great deal of eating and drinking. Hogmanay is a magical time to be in the city. But that said, there really isn't a bad time to visit Edinburgh. If you can't make it for the big festivals, don't let that deter you from visiting. Come in spring or autumn, and you'll still have a wonderful experience.